Hi guys, welcome back to the Shannon Show. Hello, if you're new, so today's video is going to be a spoiler review of Young Royals. I hope everybody is doing as well as can be, and I really do hope everybody is being as proactive as possible in supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. And if you're still on the lookout for some resources, I've linked some in the description. Feel free to comment down below your thoughts on my commentary. I'm always up for a chat, I'm always up for a debate. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't, give it a dislike, no hard feelings. And if you really like this video, consider subscribing and helping your girl out. So, Young Royals season 2. This is probably my most anticipated watch of the year. I really loved season 1. Season 1 was a masterpiece. The drama, the romance, the betrayal, the storytelling. It was a phenomenal series. Definitely, I would say in my top 5, because I feel like often season 2 is a make or break. Like, for instance, Euphoria, season 1 was really good, but season 2 was a bit shit, if you ask me. And I've had other instances where, you know, season 1 is so good and then season 2 ain't it. In terms of what I think of Young Royal season 2, I don't think it's as good as season 1, but I feel like it's giving a bridge to a better next season, hopefully. I think it had a strong opening episode and I think it had a really strong finale, but the in-between episodes were giving filler. But in terms of going into season 2 before watching it, what I was hoping for, of course, drama. I did want Wilhelm and Simone to get back together, but I was also hoping this season that Wilhelm was going to take some responsibility for the bullshit, because in my opinion, Wilhelm did not treat Simon the best. I feel like when he did mistreat him, it wasn't intentional, but the result was the same. He kept reassuring Simone, saying he's going to be there for him, but then we constantly leave him out to dry. And I feel like he was using his royal status as an excuse. Of course, being a royal is a very difficult situation to be in, but case study, Harry, Prince Harry, case study, Harry could do it for Meghan. Why can't Wilhelm do it for Simon? Obviously, this is what I was thinking going into season 2. Of course, we'll discuss. But yeah, I just kind of felt like there had been so much disrespect to Simone, and even though I shipped them together, Wilhelm definitely needed to, you know, take accountability and really make things right. Because I feel like from what I've seen, most of the sympathy was going towards Wilhelm than Simon. I kind of feel like people were just accepting that Simone was collateral damage, and to me it just rubbed me the wrong way, because it's like I feel like people were trying to say like Simone should be happy with scraps out here. Absolutely not. So yeah, that's what I was hoping for going into the season, and also Zara as well, because I don't like that bitch. I was hoping some shit was going to happen to her as well. So starting off, I'm just going to talk about what we all came to see. We came to see Wilhelm and Simon, and we came to see if they were going to get together or not. And the season starts off, they're not together, they still have feelings for each other, but Simon is clearly hurt. Obviously, the betrayal. Wilhelm left him out to dry. He did not offer him any sort of protection. So Simon's just kind of like, I need some space. Like, obviously, I have feelings for you, but I just need some space. Wilhelm was kind of just thinking they could just sweep it under the rug and just continue where they left off. But Simon's just like, no, I actually need some space. Like, I need to marinate in the disrespect. And, you know, Wilhelm was finding it very difficult to give, you know, Simone his space in the beginning, but I will give it to Wilhelm. He definitely did try. Like, there were moments where, you know, he just wanted to smother Simone, but he actually took a step back and was like, you know what, I need to respect his wishes, that he asked for space, and I'll just continue to stalk him online. Simone, obviously, his friends are telling him Wilhelm ain't shit. Like, look, he left you out to dry, blah blah blah, and I totally get that, because that's what he did. Wilhelm was trifling, so obviously his friends are telling him to leave him, and if I was Simone's friend, yeah, I would be saying, yeah, you better leave him. Like, what the fuck is this bullshit? And they're basically like, you know, you should just go out there and date, have fun, have a little hookup here and there, get a rebound and get over him. And you know what, I was here for it, for the drama. I am privy to a love triangle, I am. And that introduces us to, I guess you could say, a love interest, which is Marcus. They introduced him in the strangest way. He's Zara's friend, and he comes round the house and then somehow ends up in Simone's room saying that he heard him singing, so he just had to come into the room. I'll be damned if my siblings' friends, if I was singing in my room and my siblings' friends just come into my room unannounced, like, oh, I heard you singing, you were so good. Oh my god, like, what? Bitch, you're rude. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like him as a love interest. I felt like there was no chemistry, and I just kind of feel like there was cuter men in Sweden you could have casted. Um, yeah, like at least give us some like proper eye candy, honey. Like, come on, give us something to root for. Like, automatically, I just want him to get back with Wilhelm now. So, so suddenly now they're like instant friends. He's inviting him out to karaoke. Simone, he's down to fuck. He's trying to just get a new body, get a new zick. But Marcus is talking about, you know, he wants a proper relationship. He wants to take things slow. Like, he really liked him. Simone is just like, bitch, I just came here to fuck, honey. Like, I'm not looking for love and commitment like that. And at the time, he doesn't say anything, but you could just tell. He's just like, dang. And I feel like he was just kind of just going along with it. He didn't really want to be in this lovey-dovey relationship with Marcus, but he was just kind of going along with it because he's trying to get over Wilhelm. But eventually he's just kind of like, yeah, like I thought I could be in a new relationship to get over Wilhelm, but it's not working out. So Simone tries to break it off with Marcus, and weirdly refuses the breakup and is like, oh, you know, I'll wait for you. I know you've been hurt, and I'll wait for you when you're ready, and we can take things slow. Like, basically like refusing this breakup. And I just thought that was really weird. And then he starts trauma dumping and talking about Simone's dad, like, oh, I know about your family situation, and I just want to tell you, like, you're nothing like your dad. You're not going to end up like your dad. And I was thinking, this is very deep for somebody that you've just met. And that was a big red flag for me. Like, if someone was trying to psychologicalize me and therapize me, like, from the beginning of our relationship, like, that was a red flag. So after that, I was just like, Marcus is a bit weird. Like, this guy, like, clearly doesn't want to be with you, and you're basically saying you can't leave me. So obviously Simone and Marcus are now a thing, and Wilhelm is very jealous. And when they first started hanging out, Wilhelm was so jealous. He was basically blowing up his mother, the Queen's phone, and calling up the royal court saying, I want to have a meeting now. Basically blaming his mother, saying that it's her fault that Simon left him and that he wants to abdicate the throne. And if they don't let him abdicate the throne, then he's going to go public. And I was like, you threatening the royal family? You threatening the crown? Not you threatening the crown. You are bold, Wilhelm. And literally within 24 hours, the black cars are pulling up to the school. The bodyguards are trying to snatch Wilhelm up. They're basically saying, pack your shit up. You need to go. You can't be threatening the crown like that and expecting not to have any consequences. So he's in his room packing up. And then he's like, nah, actually, I'm not gonna go. I'm staying. They're trying to drag him off the desk. Everybody's like in the hallway outside his room, you know, trying to hear out for the tea. And then basically he has this emergency phone call with his mother. They basically squash the beef and negotiate that he can stay at the school if he behaves. His mother kind of opens the conversation to him coming out, but basically uses this stalling tactic saying, we'll discuss it when you're 18. Like, right now you're not 18, you're not mature enough to make that decision. You know, the typical excuse. And we can discuss it when you're 18. But Wilhelm kind of takes this as, oh, so when I'm 18 I can come out, no problems, kind of thing. Like it's guaranteed. Even though she kind of just said a conversation. Like, I feel like she was dangling a carrot, stringing it along, maybe hoping like within the 2 years him and Simon have probably already broken up and it's not going to be that deep anymore. Wilhelm has now heard like when he's 18 he's going to be able to live his best gay life, and he goes running to Simone, like basically saying, well, you know, I can come out when I'm 18, so let's now continue this secret relationship. And Simone is just like very offended, rightly so, and he's just like, bitch, am I a fucking joke to you? Like, bitch, do you think I'm dumb? Like, magic man. Yeah, he's basically like, yeah, bitch, I'm not here to be your fucking secret side piece again for me to be flogged by the media again. Because Simon and Marcus are together, Wilhelm feels a type of way and he makes out with Felice, and he thought he could make it work with Felice in the moment, but after they kissed kind of realized like, nah, it's just not gonna happen. Like, Simone is the one for him. And it kind of lets Felice know really quick, and Felice kind of checks him like, why would you even entertain that when you know I have feelings for you? Like, you know I wanted to be with you last year. Like, you kind of have like disrespected me a little bit. But, you know, he explains himself and he apologizes, and she does, you know, take it reasonably well. And I think she kind of knew what it was, to be honest. Like, even when she was like, you know, when they were having their makeout sessions, she was kind of just like, are you sure, bitch? Are you sure? But yeah, it was cheeky of Wilhelm to try that with Felice, knowing that she has strong feelings for him. But ultimately, like, he couldn't be doing up what Simon was doing. I mean, Simon was barely in a relationship with Marcus anyway. But yeah, he couldn't do up rebound. So obviously now they're apart again. And just basically the rest of the season, it's just the sexual tension building up. Eventually, Simon does cheat on Marcus with Wilhelm. Wilhelm's feeling very proud of himself. Like, bitch, I still got it like that. Like, he couldn't resist the temptation. And I feel like after that kiss, Wilhelm was basically like, yeah, we're back together. Simone was feeling a bit guilty about it because I guess Marcus was technically his boyfriend. But he does end up breaking up with Marcus. Marcus did not take it very well. He was basically like cussing out Simone, like, ah, you fucking bitch, like, I knew you fucking cheated on me. Calling him out his name, saying, oh, like, you know, you are the problem and you're always in drama and blah, blah, blah. And basically trying to use his trauma against him after he used that to kind of force him to stay with him after he tried to break up in the first place. And for me, it's just like, I don't feel sorry for Marcus because you're the one who actually forced this relationship. Simon told you he's not ready for a relationship. You're talking about, I'm going to wait till you're ready. You're doing up Project Save a Heartbroken Boy. And now you're mad it didn't work. Bye, Marcus. Personally, I have no sympathy for Marcus. I was very happy when Simon broke up with him. And hopefully we don't have to see him again. Like, for me, I don't even see it like Simon cheated on him, to be honest. Because he was the one forcing this relationship. So after all that sexual tension, after all of the arguments, it basically comes to a crossroads of, you know, Wilhelm wants to be with Simon, but, you know, he still is very much in tune with his royal identity, and he feels like if Simon really loved him, then he would be okay with being his secret boyfriend again for 2 years until he can come out publicly. And Simon is kind of just like, well, if you really love me, then you wouldn't keep me a secret. And I kind of get both sides of the argument, but I just kind of feel like because of what transpired last season and just seeing, you know, that Wilhelm will always put him and his family first and kind of just leave Simon to fend for himself, I just feel like Wilhelm is selfish in my opinion. I do feel like he's entitled because, you know, he's a royal and he usually gets everything that he wants. He kind of just doesn't feel a type of way for Simon to have to make all these compromises. And I still feel like he undermines the amount of stress and inconvenience this relationship causes for Simone. I was hoping Simone was going to stand his ground because I still don't really feel like Wilhelm took full accountability for leaving him out to dry. He's still kind of like, I feel like he gauges, yes, it was wrong of him, but he was still in a space of the majority of the season that, you know, he had to do what he had to do. Like, he had no choice in the situation when really and truly he did. I was kind of hoping when it came to that crossroads that Simon would say, holler at me in 2 years because I'm not doing this secret thing anymore. Like, you've already proved to me that you cannot be trusted. So I'm not here for the bullshit no more. If you want to love me out loud, bitch. But Simone, he's the one who comes and says, okay, I want to be with you. Okay, I agree to be your secret boyfriend until you can come out. And although I was happy that they got together, like, I was kind of disappointed that Simone didn't have more standards for himself, in my opinion. I feel like he is the one that's constantly compromising in this relationship. Obviously the ending, you know, there's some ending which we'll talk about, kind of changes things a bit, but overall, yeah, I just kind of feel like Simone is always getting the short end of the stick, in my opinion. But I guess which done, you know, brings me to the ending. They left it on a bang. Wilhelm comes out and he uses the opportunity of him giving his speech at the 120th anniversary of their school, literally in front of everyone, the royal court, the press, the students. He goes off script and he basically admits that it was him in the video with Simone. So I feel like that's pretty much admitting that he's queer. And everybody heard it. The Queen was gagged. His schoolmates were gagged. The press was gagged. The Queen was like, cut the cameras. But everybody heard it, bitch. Everybody heard, honey. And I was just like, I know that's right, bitch, because this is what Simon deserves. I do feel like he should have given Simone like a heads up because it was just kind of like, he kind of just threw him in front of the press again. Like, people were taking pictures of Simone, and he was just like, oh, oh, well, I didn't know this was going to happen today. But yeah, I was very proud because it's just like, it's about time. Like, let's stop playing games. Let's not play games. We already know you don't want to be king anywhere. You're already making moves to abdicate. Like, all of this 2-year wait, you know it's fucking bullshit. You know it's just going to be some more bullshit. So yeah, just say it now. Like, all of this wait till you're 18 stuff, it's all a fucking ploy. All of that, oh, 18 is mature. We all know that's fucking conservative bullshit. And obviously that leaves things on a cliffhanger. And I'm going to leave what I think is going to happen next season towards the end of the review. So I'm happy Simone and Wilhelm are back together. But like I said, I do wish Wilhelm had taken a bit more accountability. I guess by him coming out and admitting that it was him, he's kind of taken accountability for leaving Simone out to dry. It would have been nice if we got like a direct personal apology, because he kind of just said like, I didn't say it and I should have, but he didn't really publicly apologize to Simone. It would have been nice if he did that and did a, you know, public declaration of love. He kind of just did it subtly, like, you know, by looking back at Simone and smiling, which was still cute. But yeah, I just kind of feel like for the disrespect that big, I feel like he could have added a little bit more razzle dazzle on that kind of controlled public display of affection. I'd like to know what you guys think about the journey of Wilhelm and Simone's relationship this season. I think overall it was satisfying. I think it would have been nice to actually see them broken up for a whole season and just kind of tease them getting back together. I've never really seen a season like that where it's like, you know, you're teasing us getting back together and you actually wait until the next season. Like, most of the time it's like by the end you've seen at least like one kiss between them. I think it would have been nicer if they kind of stretched that out a bit, to be honest. You know, a bit more animosity. Like, clearly they still have feelings for each other, but a bit more tension, a bit more animosity, a bit more, you know, high blood pressure. I would have preferred that. I feel like obviously him coming out was kind of like, is he gonna do it, is he not? But yeah, I kind of feel like there could have been a lot more drama between them than there was this season. I think maybe it was meant to be that love triangle, but sorry, Marcus was so dry. Like, Simone and Marcus was so dry. Like, I just kind of like don't even count that as a real storyline. Which moves us on to the next focus. Obviously, after Wilhelm and Simone, I feel like the next thing that people are interested in is our resident villain, August. Obviously, after the treachery of season 1, I feel like a lot of people wanted him to, you know, get his upcomings. Did he get that? Maybe. It's still in motion. So basically, for most of the season, August is being blackmailed by Wilhelm. Wilhelm is kind of getting into his villain era as well with his blackmailing of August. Obviously, August leaked the video, but nobody knows who leaked the video. And obviously, if Wilhelm was to tell everyone that August leaked the video, everyone will switch on August. And how Wilhelm is blackmailing him is basically August is a prefect, and he's basically getting him to change all of these rules. Like, I guess they have this thing where it's like the seniors get special privileges and basically get to use the younger years as slaves, basically. Like, they get to be their little servants and stuff. And they, you know, get to eat first. They get first pick, stuff like that. They get the nicer accommodation. They get the nicer showers, so on and so forth. And Wilhelm is basically fucking that shit up and is basically getting August to agree with him so that it creates tension within his kind of prefect group. And August eventually ends up getting kicked out of like the prefects. He loses his title. He loses being a captain on one of the sports teams. So, you know, this kind of emotional blackmail is really affecting August. And he's really kind of going through it mentally at the beginning of this episode. Like, he's having panic attacks and stuff like that. You know, he's back on the Adderall. And for me, like, I just feel like he wasn't suffering enough, in my opinion. I wanted him to suffer more. I feel like Wilhelm was still going very light on him. And when Wilhelm was saying, I'm going to end him, I'm going to have revenge, I was hoping it was going to be something a bit bigger. To me, the revenge was very light, in my opinion. They let him off lightly. But slowly and surely, August is back to his meddling ways. He ends up telling Alexander that it was Wilhelm that plotted to plant the drugs on him so he could take the fall to protect Simone. And obviously, Alexander is not happy with that. Simone finds out that it was August who leaked the tape. Wilhelm tells him, and Simone decides he's going to go to the police. And then basically, he plots with Alexander, who he's now informed of William's betrayal, to take the rap if the incident is reported to police. And he also tells Wilhelm that if Simone does report him to the police, he's going to snitch on him for selling drugs because the prescription pills that Simone was selling has his dad's name on it. And I'm not going to lie, as much as I hate August's character, I was here for August in his villain era, because that's when shit started picking up, when August was in his villain era. And that's what was missing for the majority of this season. August being an antagonist, because when he was being Wilhelm's little slave, I didn't really care about him. It was boring. But when he was being the villain, it was amazing, because he really is evil and he does play a great villain. So obviously August's plan works. Wilhelm runs to Simone outside the police station and basically tell him, like, bitch, we've been set up. It's not gonna work. Then after that situation, for some reason, Wilhelm is like stuck on who is the one that told August. Like, he's not angry that August has gotten out of being reported. He's just kind of fixated on, well, who told August? So he now goes to the shooting range where August is at, grabs a gun and basically holds August at gunpoint. Wilhelm is acting crazy now. Like, he's got the crazy look in his eye. He's shooting in the air. He's saying, give it, tell me who it is, tell me who it is. I was like, oh, Wilhelm, I thought you were just a cute little boy, like cute little harmless boy. Yeah, he's shooting the gun, honey. Better shoot him, bitch. I was thinking maybe he might shoot him because he was talking about, you know, I'm a royal, I'm the crown prince. Like, it's gonna be easy to cover this shit up if I murder you. And I was just thinking, why did she do it then? I was kind of like, I knew he wasn't gonna do it because there was witnesses there, like Felice was there, Zara was there. So yeah, but Wilhelm was serious. He was like, you know, tell me who it is, tell me who it is. You know, August is staying quiet, but he's saying, you know, please don't shoot me. Please don't do this. Like, he was like a little bitch on his knees, because Wilhelm was like, get on your knees, get on your knees, which I live for. And then eventually Sarah comes forward and was like, it was me. And that was kind of like the downfall of August again, because after that, I think obviously him and Zara were in this relationship, and I don't know, Zara was trying to see the good in him, and then like, I guess this was like, finally the rose tinted glasses came off and Zara saw that he was like an evil guy. She breaks up with him and ends up reporting him to the police. But we see that at the very end, we do not see the conclusion of that. So we don't know what's going to happen with that police report. I'm assuming Zara probably has some incriminating evidence that it was actually August that did it. Is August now just going to retaliate and get Simon done for the sake of it? What's going to go on with that? But if the report is successful, what does that now mean for August and, you know, the goals that he's trying to pursue next season? So yeah, I think August is definitely at his best when he is a villain. I feel like they need to like limit the humanization, the sad August, submissive August, the August being a little bitch. I just feel like August is at his best when he's a villain. So I feel like next season, I would just like to see like more villainy, which kind of leads me back onto the storyline of the crown. That's all been affected by Wilhelm coming out. But a key thing in that whole situation is that August is actually Wilhelm's backup, which I thought was a bit strange. Like, hasn't Wilhelm's mother got any siblings? Ain't they got any kids? Or is that like where August is from? Is he like Wilhelm's first cousin? I'm pretty sure he was like an eighth cousin. I kind of felt like that kind of didn't really make sense in my opinion, but maybe I've got the family tree wrong. They're sizing up August to be Wilhelm's replacement if he abdicates. And Wilhelm's mother's always talking about, I'm here for you, Wilhelm. I'm always going to be on your side. But then she'd be doing stuff like this. Like, you couldn't find another relative. I just feel like Wilhelm's mother is fake. Like, she's just all about her duty. And it's just like, I don't know. Maybe because duty comes before humanity. Because that's a fucking mess, August being now potentially first in line for the throne. August really wants to be first in line for the throne. Of course, somebody like August who would love that power, who is already getting off, being related to the prince anyway. What's better than being related to the prince? Being the prince, being the king even. So I feel like August is going to be very determined to be the next king. He's requesting his inheritance now. He's finally selling his dad's paintings, which he was resistant to before. So I feel like he's definitely in his, power hungry phase, and he wants that trophy. And I'm just now wondering if Zara's report to the police is going to affect that. And if it doesn't, because it seems like August finds his way out of everything, what is he going to do? Is he going to retaliate against Zara? Is he going to, blackmail Zara and say, like, if you don't retract this, I'm going to report Simon? Like, what's he going to do with that? Interestingly, with that situation, when he's going through the vetting process, they're asking him all of these invasive questions, like basically asking him about his lifestyle, like does he drink, does he take drugs? And they're telling him be honest, and he obviously lies because he's up on Adderall all the time. And I'm just thinking, well, how's that gonna fare? Like, is his drug habit gonna affect his chances? Surely that might become an issue down the line. But I think it's very clear that Wilhelm probably isn't going to take the crown. It seems like they're being quite realistic. The monarchy is a very conservative institution. And his mum basically insinuated because Wilhelm won't produce a quote-unquote natural heir, that there's no point of him becoming king. Because it is a fictional show, maybe they wanted to make a progressive monarchy with an openly gay prince. That would be interesting, but unrealistic in my opinion. But cool to see. I would be open to seeing that, but I personally would want to see Wilhelm abdicate the throne for Simone's sake. Like, I just feel like that's just gonna be way too much. I just feel like Wilhelm actually being an active prince is just gonna be too much for their relationship. Wilhelm can't really speak to his parents about things. They hire him a therapist. These therapy sessions were boring, to be honest. I didn't really see the value of them. Yes, we got to hear Wilhelm's thoughts, but for me, the therapy sessions were boring. I wasn't really interested in them, to be honest. Like, we already know what Wilhelm was thinking anyway, so why do we need to hear them again in a therapy session? Kind of biggest thing was probably Zara and August's relationship, but I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't care about them. Like, every time they come on my screen, I was just like, rolling my eyes. Obviously, Zara just has this infatuation with August, and she kind of, when it comes to an end, when she realizes that August is full of shit and very selfish, she kind of just says that, she was so in love with him that she just only saw the good in him and not the bad. And I really just don't buy that. I feel like she definitely leveraged August to gain some privileges, like, how she finessed the scholarship. I just kind of feel like, she has this history of respecting rich people rather than, her family, because her family are working class and she values, rich people more. I think now she realizes the error of her ways, definitely, and I feel like she generally does regret what she did, what she, all the meddling that she's did, all the aiding and abetting that she's done. But I just kind of feel like it's just a little too late. Like, how are you putting August over your family? Like, you know what he did to your brother, and you're still entertaining him and having this relationship with him. Like, I struggle to have sympathy for Zara, in my opinion. And then on top of that, her sibling was last on her list. She was more worried about hurting Felice's feelings than Simone. I've betrayed Felice because I'm with her ex, rather than, I've betrayed Simone because I'm with the guy that ruined his life, essentially. So yeah, with Zara, I just struggle to have sympathy for her, in my opinion. I guess her and August, in their own way were cute, I can say. But I didn't really care about their relationship, to be honest. I could have done with less of it. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do any of you guys actually ship Zara and August? Were you actually invested in their relationship? Let me know. But moving on to kind of just Sarah, I guess beyond her relationship with August, she finally is now boarding at the school, and she's now, integrating within, higher society. And she's loving it at the beginning, but I feel like she was definitely like feeling it at her pocket because, everybody eats at the cafeteria, but the cafeteria food is at these rich people prices. So, she's buying food and it's just like, dang, I barely have any money left. Her dorm mates are, buying her expensive gifts, and they're like, oh yeah, we all do this. We all just put in £100 for a gift. And she's, thinking like, well, I can't do that. I ain't got the money like that. So I feel like she was happy to be amongst the rich girls, but I feel like she was peeping, her, the class difference. She was peeping, she doesn't really have the money like these girls do. I feel like she was, and I do think she was peeping like how some of the girls were like trying to treat her like a servant girl, because some of them were talking about, oh, you can assist me at my stables and like basically be my free stable hand, bitch. You ain't slick, bitch. Trying to sneakily ask for free labor. Obviously, after that whole drama with August, when she finally kind of realizes that, she's been stupid and wrong for aiding and abetting August, Felice, she's pissed. And she's kind of just like, her and the other boarding girls have kind of iced her out. And I think she just realizes the severity of her triflingness, that she's just so ashamed that she's packed her bags and she's left. I'm not sure if it's just the boarding house or whether it's the school period. My guess is probably the school period. Like, she just kind of feels like she can't really show her face anymore. Interestingly, on her way out the door, August tries to like get back with her and is like, oh, I bought you your favorite horse, because her favorite horse, aka Felice's horse, was sold by Felice's family, because obviously Felice is not really riding the horse. And Sarah was upset because she doesn't think that it went to a good handler. So he's bought her this horse now to basically like, have her forgiveness. And she's just like, I want nothing to do with you. But I was thinking like, you already did your dirt. You might as well keep the horse. Like, that's your favorite horse. You don't want the horse? You don't want the horse, girl? Like, come on, girl, just take the horse. But in terms of character development, I feel like we didn't really see much. Just saw her explore her sexuality a bit more. But that was it really. I'm not really sure if we saw much character development. I just feel like her kind of journey into now boarding at the school and trying to integrate within rich life wasn't that exciting to me personally. Obviously, after that whole drama with August, when she finally kind of realizes that, she's been stupid and wrong for aiding and abetting August. I guess following on other character development, obviously, I think I really addressed August. August is perfect in his villain era. I want to see him more as a villain. Seeing him like soft and vulnerable didn't really work for me in terms of character development. He's best as a villain. Wilhelm, I feel like we saw some pretty decent character development with Wilhelm. Obviously last season he was a lot more anxious, a lot more less confident. I feel like this season, we did see lots of different sides to him. We saw his kind of like evil side. We saw his plotting side, his jealous side. That was exciting to see, and I feel like he was a lot more confident. Like when he was giving that speech, I was like, "Purr, anxiety where?" So I think this season was a good season for Wilhelm's character development. Simon, for me personally, his character development was lacking, and I also kind of feel like we didn't really see much of him compared to the other main characters. We still saw a significant chunk of him, but I kind of feel like not as much as we saw for others, like kind of just focusing on him. The bits where he was singing and writing this song could have been focused on character development. Obviously, he's a recording artist, so maybe that's why they wanted to integrate. I feel like that could have been replaced for some character development, because I don't feel like we really got much. We saw much development from Simone. Obviously, he's heartbroken. He wants space. Kind of just saw that in speech. I feel like there wasn't much dynamic in terms of his emotional development compared to last season. There was a little bit of laziness on Simon's character development, in my opinion. Felice was barely a main character, in my opinion. She was very much a supporting character, very much the black best friend, in my opinion. She was given the black best friend edit. And I feel like there was new characters that I can't even remember their names, had more of a storyline than she did. She was always assisting someone rather than her having the spotlight on her. Like, compared to last season, her character development has been dramatically reduced. I dare say there was any character development this season for Felice, other than now she is less obsessed with Wilhelm. That was about it. And she's now rocking her curly hair rather than straight. I feel like there was potential with her because obviously Wilhelm wanted revenge on August. Felice was kind of felicitating that. They're texting back and forth. I would have liked her to be more involved in the revenge plot. It kind of seems like she, again, was taking a back burner. She was an assistant. She was a PA. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed in the kind of lack of development, lack of storyline really with Felice. She felt very much like a supporting character, and it's disappointing because there's literally series and I kind of feel like they weren't given as much attention in their development as the rest of the main white cast, in my opinion. I feel like there's a clear discrepancy. So I think season 3, I definitely want to see Felice have her own distinct narrative, and I want to see a lot more character development for Simone as well. So yeah, as I was saying, there was other characters as well that I didn't know that kind of had more of a storyline, but I really didn't care about them. There were the girls in the boarding houses. I can't tell you their names, and I really don't care about them. Really don't care to see them next season, in my opinion. They didn't need to be added. They could have allocated that to the actual main characters, aka Felice, who didn't really have a storyline this season. Hi guys, post-production Shannon here. I've just realised that I missed out a very important point. But to add on to what I just said, next season I would also like to see a bit more intersectionality when it comes to race. Last season, it was an issue, but the season was so good I could ignore it. But with season 2, it's just very obvious that there is not really much intersectionality when it comes to race in Young Royals. They're great with addressing the class divide. They're great with addressing sexuality, but when it comes to race, it's almost non-existent. And for me as a black person, a person of color watching this, it's very apparent, very hard for me to ignore, and I do feel like there needs to be improvement. So for instance, with Felice, last season they kind of insinuated that she straightens her hair because she's trying to, fit the European Swedish beauty standards. She's pretty much the only woman of colour at this school, so of course it makes sense that she feels pressure to assimilate. But season 2, we see her out with her curls, and that's about it. They don't really address that. Me as a black girl who has, been educated in environments where I pretty much was the only black girl in the room, me going from straightening my hair every day to now wearing it in its natural state, in my opinion, is a significant event. So I would have liked to have seen that, address that with Felice, considering they kind of planted that seed last season. Realistically, as a biracial person, her experiences at school are not going to be the same as her white counterparts. And generally in life, I would have loved to see her put on a bonnet or a scarf when she went to bed. Even little things like that, because overall, Felice doesn't feel like a fully fledged character. And I do think it's the fact that they are kind of putting her race at the back burner. In my opinion, especially in the setting of like an elite, predominantly white school. In Europe, the racial aspects of her identity has taken a back burner. Yes, she's well off, she's privileged, but it still doesn't cancel out the things that come with being biracial. And also with Simon, I feel like the lack of acknowledgement of his race is even more apparent. He is treated differently to his white counterparts. But Young Royals kind of frames it as it's because of his class. And to me, that is not realistic at all. In an elitist, predominantly white institution, are you telling me that all the white boys are picking on the brown guy just because he's working class? That is not remotely realistic. And I'm sure people of colour in Sweden can confirm that. As someone who is black and working class, who has kind of grown up most of my life in middle class environment, especially at school, when I experienced classism, it wasn't like it was just classism. It was always intersected with racism. It wasn't like an isolated incident of purely classism. Especially as somebody with parents who immigrated from Africa, as well as the classism being mixed with the racism is also being mixed with xenophobia as well. Like, for instance, back in season 1, they had this kind of debate on welfare versus tax write-offs, and there was a moment where one of the white wealthy kids looked at Simone. There was like a conversation about welfare and somebody was, giving me a funny look. It wouldn't just be classist for me, it would be racist, because there is this racist rhetoric that Africans immigrate to Europe to abuse the welfare system. And that goes for other groups of colour as well, including the Latino community. So I feel like it's just little discrepancies like that where I kind of feel like a lot of things are just focused on class solely when they should be intersected with race, because that's how it is in the real world. I feel like another missed opportunity would have been with this whole anniversary thing that they did with the school, the 120th anniversary. One of the teachers was going on about, how this is going to be a moment to prove how far the school has come, considering their elitist conservative history, that they are modernized and they are more progressive. And, one of the teachers came to Simone with that story. And I think it would have been great to see a situation where, because of that event and they want to show how progressive they are now, they literally picked Simone and Felice and took pictures of them and wanted to put them on brochures and stuff, because that's what happens in schools that are predominantly white. When it comes to the brochure, they're collecting all the POC kids so they can look more diverse than they are. Because I feel like these institutions don't really care about their students of colour until it's time to look good for the press. I feel like that was a clear missed opportunity, because people of colour who go to predominantly white institutions can relate to that. I definitely feel like there was missed opportunities there. I feel like maybe they were kind of insinuating it with Simone, because the teacher did go to Simone to express that the school wanted to come across more progressive and more modernized. Again, it's not explicit enough for me. They're very explicit with class and there's not enough explicitness with race. That could be a race issue, but it was always could, because it wasn't explicit enough for me. And like I said, class will always be interconnected with race when it comes to working class people of colour. You can't separate them and put them into separate boxes. They work and they operate together. I'm not sure whether it's a thing where they've just literally put it on a back burner because it's a white writing team, or maybe they don't really want to address it because they're white people and they don't want to get things wrong. There is mentions of race in the series, but like I said, it's not really explicit. It's all very descriptive in my opinion. There's a clear lack of nuance in my opinion. So maybe they do need to outsource some other writers that can help them kind of integrate more intersectionality when it comes to race, because they cover class really well. They cover sexuality really well. If you can cover both of those systemic issues really well, it doesn't make sense to me why race is being left out. But I'd be interested to hear from you guys. Do you feel like they do kind of cover race issues, or does anyone else feel like they don't really address race, or they need to do it better than they are doing? Moving forward, I feel like that will really elevate the series, because for me, that is the main element that is missing for me. And as a black person, as a person of colour watching this series, it's very hard for me to ignore. It's great to have a brown lead. It's great to have a biracial lead character, but when you're kind of missing out a key part of their identity, I feel like you are doing a disservice to those characters and a disservice to that representation. So I feel like they do need to outsource writers of colour to contribute to this season so that it's a bit more realistic in my opinion. I feel like that's kind of like the storyline, character development. For me, would probably be the structure. Opening episode, really strong, really engaging. I was really excited for what was going to happen next. But literally, it was like a sandwich in between. Before the finale was just a bit boring. There was drama here and there. Like, we had the little love triangle thing going on. We had August, we had Zara, but in between episodes, like it was kind of stretched out. Like there's enough to watch an episode and engage you in an episode, but there were also a lot of bits that were a bit boring, and I was just like, oh, when are we gonna see the drama? Like kind of see, you know, August coming into his, you know, villain plotting, and then the finale, which was a strong finale. So I think next season we need less filler episodes. Every episode needs to be a banger. I feel like I will take it, but I feel like it's a bit lazy to have a thing where it's like you have a really good opening and you have a really good finale, but like the in between episodes are like average. You shouldn't be relying on your opening and final episodes to make the whole season work. Like in my opinion, season 1, every single episode I was glued to my screen. So I wasn't glued to my screen for the in between episodes, I have to say. Obviously cinematography was decent. I feel like there were some episodes that it was really good, and then the rest it was average. Like the opening episode, like with the physical touch and like stuff like that was really good, and then the rest, and then we kind of just didn't really see that again. Like I felt like season 1 was filmed in a lot more of an intimate way, and we didn't really see that this season, which I would have liked to see more of, like the kind of intimate soft core atmosphere that the cinematography created last season. I would have liked to see a bit more of that this season, but overall I'd say a decent job on the cinematography. The score was really good. The playlist I wasn't the biggest fan of. I preferred the actual score to like the track that they were playing, but I guess it's a teen show, so they, you know, want to make it kind of like current by playing, you know, current kind of like European or Swedish tracks. But honestly, I could do without them. Like if they just stuck to the score, I would be happy with that. I don't really need the kind of pop music that they play. I don't think it needs it, in my opinion. I think the score is strong enough. Hair and makeup, I think they did a good job on Felice's curls. What do we think about Wilhelm's haircut? I did like it, but I think I prefer the longer hair. But I don't mind the short cut either. What haircut do we prefer? Season 1 or season 2, Wilhelm? What's the verdict? Let me know. So yeah, I feel like that's pretty much me covering everything in terms of predictions for season 3. Do I think there's going to be season 3? I think they will. I think they will renew it. I feel like this season is good enough for it to be renewed. So I think they will renew it. I'm hoping to see, obviously, I want a lot more drama every single episode. I want August on his worst behaviour. I want the royal family in disarray. I think Sarah should come back to the school. I think she will. I think she will be convinced to come back. I feel like Felice felt a bit bad that she felt bad enough to actually leave the school. I feel like she'll be back. I'm really interested to see how they handle, you know, Wilhelm essentially coming out. So yeah, I just want drama. That's what I want for season 3. Drama, chaos and villainy. That's what I want for season 3. But do let me know what you're hoping to see for season 3. So overall, I would say it was a solid season. Not as good as season 1, but I feel like it was acceptable. I feel like it's giving a bridge to hopefully a very good season 3. So if season 3 is not better than this season, then I'm going to be disappointed. So overall, I will give this a solid 3 out of 5, which would be a 70% on the tomato meter. But do let me know what you would rate it out of 5 or out of 100%. Let me know what you thought about this season. As always, let me know what you thought about my commentary. I've actually reacted to the first and last episode of this season. Hopefully it's already up on my channel by now. If it is, I'll link it up here. And if it isn't, then just stay tuned and keep my notifications on so you know when it drops. If there's any other shows that you want me to react to or review, you can send me a request on my Patreon. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and if you have, don't forget to put my notification bell on so you know my next video is dropping. I'm also trying to get to 4.4k subscribers. That's my next short-term goal, and I'd appreciate if you help me hit that. And thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel so far, and thank you to everybody who's taken the extra step to sign up to my Patreon. Till next time guys, bye.